But drag is not a gender identity, drag is an art form.
I don't entirely feel safe,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I cannot let the fear to control me,
Yeah.
to live my life.
This is why we are here. We have to be visible and go through all that bullshit
Yep.
and then eventually push for change.
Hi everyone, I'm Akshi,
I'm Carmen.
I'm Miss Boom.
I'm Kumela.
and welcome to the Woke Up Show. Alright, so today is a very exciting episode of the Woke Up Show, and I'm gonna be honest, when I was preparing for all the episodes, this is the one that I felt like I'm just ready. I'm ready to do this. I'm trying not to fangirl right now, to be honest. So before we start this conversation, maybe you guys can introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff. Whoever wants to
You
go
wanna go
first.
first?
I go first. Alright. Hi everybody. I am Kumela Kumslut, a singer-songwriter based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And
You can say anything or you can say just that.
and always fuck safe.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's next?
I'll go. Oh, okay, I'll go. Hi, I'm Miss Boom. I am a multidimensional queen. I do music, I sing live, I dance, and I rap.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do on stage.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Carmen Rose. I am a freelance graphic designer by day and a performer by night. I don't sing, but I do dance. I want to rap in the future too. So
Oh nice. We got a couple rappers
Yeah.
here. Maybe we can make you guys rap battle later. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So
I can only rap to Nicki Minaj now.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. So I guess my first question to you guys before we even start any of this is what should I call you? He, she, they, them? Like what is your preferred pronouns and should people who don't know anything about drag, if they see a drag queen, what should they call you? What do you prefer to be called?
I think by default, like all drag queens should be they prefer to be referred as she, her.
Okay.
But speaking for myself, in drag is she, her. Out of drag, I'm non-binary, so
They,
like
them.
she, her, they, them, he,
Okay.
him.
Oh,
Yeah,
anything is
anything,
fine.
yeah.
Nice.
Personally, I don't give a fuck about pronouns anymore.
Nice.
So, whatever, anything goes.
All right.
Yeah. For me, in drag, generally she, her, but out of drag, he, him. But personally, I really don't.
You don't
care.
mind, yeah.
no.
That's good. It's nice to hear that it's not so serious. I think a lot of people feel like if I get it wrong, then I'm just like fucked up and that's it. Like it's over. But it's actually okay.
Yeah, but I think it's always very important to ask.
Ask, yeah.
So at least you know. If you don't know the name.
Yeah. I guess just don't make an assumption about what people
Yes.
prefer.
Yeah.
And so, can I ask you guys, like, what is drag?
Performance art.
Drag is just an avenue of expression which revolves around changing up the concept of gender.
It's performance art.
Yeah.
It's
It's
got
an art form,
Yeah.
like we're a walking exhibition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's living the fantasy.
Yeah, it's also living in this fantasy,
Yes.
extension of your fantasy.
Yeah.
And yeah, like for us, we see drag as an art form now.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. I think after slowly learning about drag, I'm like, there's comedy, there's makeup, there's dancing, there's hosting, there's lip syncing, there's reading.
Literally
And like
anything.
it's literally to be a drag queen, you can specialize of course, but there's so many things you can do.
Yes.
And I feel like people don't realize that it ain't easy. It ain't easy to look this good.
And it is a profession.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Absolutely.
We should be
it's a
taken
legitimate job.
seriously.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like people don't see it that way?
Some people, but of course the people that we work with or
Yeah.
That they would know.
They would know.
Yeah.
But I think most of the audience, they are. But I guess it also goes to show that it works. They are caught up in that fantasy,
Yeah.
so they don't see it. And also, I guess because we have so much fun on stage, so they do tend to forget, which is fine.
No, but it's just like it's an alternative career, but it is a career, it is a job, it is something that you can dedicate your entire life to because people don't really blink an eye when someone says they're an actor. So what is the difference? It's still entertainment, it's just a different expression of it.
we're like actors, but we do everything on our own, you know.
Yes.
We're also
Yeah.
makeup artists,
Exactly.
we're also hairstylists, we're also stylists,
Or choreographers.
choreographers, you
Yes.
know,
You
all
do-
of it,
you do-
honestly.
you
It's a lot of
everything.
work.
Yeah, it is.
No,
It's
I-
definitely a one-woman show in many respects.
Yeah. And do you have to be gay to do drag?
Not
No.
necessarily.
I think that's a
no.
very common misconception.
Yes.
Because even women can do drag, right?
Yes.
And can women dress up in drag as women? Or
Yeah.
Of
do
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Because
You
drag
can
is an art
exaggerate.
form.
You can
so-
exaggerate your
Yeah.
femininity or masculinity
Yeah.
or lack thereof.
Yeah, I was reading this article and someone was saying how like, do you think we think this is how women actually dress? Like we know that this is not how women dress. This is how drag queens dress. Like this is an art form. It's not men pretending to be women. It's men or women doing drag. Like I think that really needs to be like people need to understand that.
And it's basically saying like a big fuck you to gender, like the
Yeah.
gender binary and stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, there are also queens who look really, really fishy as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
at the same
yeah,
time. I mean,
there's that
is
as
their-
well.
There are
yeah.
queens who are, more focused on the women impersonation aspect.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
pretty
And that's
diverse.
valid too.
That's,
so.
it's like a spectrum, like just like
Yes,
gender.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And so so even today before we came here, my dad was asking me, so are these three people coming, are they trans? And I was like, no, I don't. I mean, they might be, but like just because they're doing drag, it doesn't mean that you're trans,
Yeah.
right?
Like drag is not a gender identity. This is what I always tell people because that's what they assume of me, that I'm trans. But drag is not a gender identity. Drag is an art form.
yeah.
But trans people can do drag. You see them do drag
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
I guess some trans people, they find their way to
Yeah.
realizing that they are trans
Yes.
through drag, because I guess maybe in a sense it's the first step, like you kind of just experiment with it, or no, am I off?
There are queens who have gone through that journey.
Yeah.
So it can be a gateway.
It can be.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Like for me, it is a gateway. Like I was expressing like my gender like way back in 2012. I was still like exploring like what my gender is and what my identity is, and like I can do that through drag. Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
And it's still a journey. It's not like a
it's not overnight. It's not one
No.
day you get in drag, you're
Yeah.
like, oh yes, this is how I'm supposed to
yeah.
be.
Yeah, I think to keep it short is like, trans is who they are, drag is what they do.
Yes.
I think that's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
simplest way to
To kind of understand it.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get started in drag? How did this journey begin for you?
Well, for me, it was very spontaneous. I mean, I did not plan to at least not professionally, Actually, my first time I came out in 2016 Halloween, I came out in full drag for the very first time. So that was when Kumela Kumslut was first
She was
born. I
born.
just go to the party, right? I wasn't performing or anything
Yeah.
like that. So then from then on, then Jerome, he asked me, if I would like to host and perform at this party. It's called Rainbow Rojak. It's
Oh,
KL's
yes.
longest queer running party. So from then on, I just continued. I mean, I was so new to everything. I didn't know, at performing, I've never performed in my life. I've never do clubbing, hosting. I mean, that's totally another thing too.
Yeah.
So and then from then on, until
It just
this-
kind of
just-
naturally progressed.
Yeah.
But what kind of made you decide that first time that you're gonna go out in full drag? Did you just have it in you that you wanted to do it?
Yeah, for me, I took the challenge because I've always loved to dress up. I
Yeah.
love fashion, right? So my day job, I'm a fashion photographer. So
Okay,
I
yeah.
love fashion. I work with designers and stylists. So I love all of that. And everything just slowly just came about.
Naturally.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really think so much about it.
Yeah.
Even with my name, everything just came quite spontaneously.
Literally came.
Yeah,
Kumela.
literally came. Exactly. I love that.
I try. What about you, Carmen?
For me it was a journey. So this is way before I knew about RuPaul's Drag Race. The first drag queen that I knew in the media was Kuma, the drag queen from Singapore.
Yes.
And I think I've always done drag when I was younger, like putting towel over my head and then acting like I'm a news reporter
Oh my
and doing all
God.
that. So when I went into adulthood and I was I had my freedom, I just started buying my first wig. It was a bob wig, and I wanted to bring out something else in me that's different, And that's
You
where
can kind of feel that
Yeah.
it was always there.
yeah. And Carmen, initially it was supposed to be like my the way I explore gender. I wanted to see if I'm gonna transition into someone else, and I decided that Carmen is a drag queen, and let's see where it goes from there. And this all like started way back in 2012, and Carmen is taken from Lana Del Rey's song Carmen, because I love that song so much, and Rose just came from her love of roses in her music video, and that's how Carmen Rose was born.
Okay.
And that's when I started doing drag. I would call it a bedroom queen. I was just performing in front of my photo booth, and I didn't go outside until like in 2016. That's where I saw Kumela Kumslut during Halloween.
Oh my
She
god.
was in drag. I was out of drag at a time. I was like, oh my god, there's someone else out there. Like that pleaser heels.
Yes.
From the back, I was like, that is Gaga. Yeah, but I remember telling myself like, I want to be like her. I want to have her confidence, and
Yep.
So I slowly started like bringing Carmen out to the public, and it was also during Halloween the first time Carmen came out, because like that's the safest, and
Yeah.
no one will like really judge you, or
Yeah.
everyone's dressed up. Yeah, and the rest is history.
So it was almost an intentional new gender expression that you were
Yeah.
sort of exploring, and then you kind of were like, oh, maybe I can do this as well for a career.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Because
amazing.
I was like, advised to start performing, but I needed to just like get ready, learning how to do makeup, drag makeup,
Yeah.
and everything.
And performing is not easy. I've seen you girls perform, and I haven't seen you, Miss Boom, not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
And what you do it's incredible. It's not easy. You watch people captivate the audience like that. Not just anyone can do that, and I can see that this is not something that just happened for you overnight. You can see that there's hard work behind it.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Boom? How did this transition happen for you?
Okay, well, I've always been performing like in high school, out of drag, obviously. I love pop music, so Britney Spears is like, my ultimate. So growing up, I always wanted to be Britney Spears, learning how to dance from her, and then like in high school, I kind of became the Britney kid. So I had lots of like performing experience already. The need to do drag was kind of in me as well, because I was just like, I want to have long hair and I want to wear the sexy outfits, and I basically just want to be Britney at the time. And then like Carmen said, there's like exposure to like Kumar and stuff, and then when Drag Race started to rise to prominence, I think that really like solidified the need. I was just like, this is exactly what I want to do, like watching them strut on the runway. And then 2017, that's when Kumslut started performing a lot at Rainbow Rojak. So I would always go and always watch her perform, and I'm like, I want to do that. And then
It's like a yearning in
yes,
you.
absolutely. And then in 2017 as well, same year, it was Halloween, and everyone was like, oh my god, you should totally go out in drag. And I was just like, yeah, why not? And then having went out in drag, I realized like, oh my god, this is addictive. And then I was like, after that, I was like, okay, let's explore and see how, I can make this work.
Wow, it seems like Halloween is like the best opportunity to like first like
Yeah.
test the
It
waters and going out in
It's
drag.
like a free pass.
it's like a safe night,
Yeah,
yeah.
because everybody's gonna dress up. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want
you
without any
literally
judgment.
exactly.
Right?
I mean, but that's like why I really love drag. Like my exposure to drag came from Drag Race, and when I went to university, I lived in New York, and the street I lived on was called Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, and so it's like it's all the gay bars, it's lots of queens, everybody's there. And I was just like, yes, I love this. Like, this is amazing. Like, I love everything about it. And when I don't know that much because, I mostly learned from watching Drag Race or watching videos online of queens, like, just having their YouTube videos. But what I loved about it is you can see people are genuinely being themselves. And there's like whatever was inside them, they're taking it out and they're making it beautiful. And it would always make me cry because I was like, you don't see people being authentic in this way that often, and it's scary because it's not always safe.
Yeah.
And do you guys deal with that a lot in Malaysia, like feeling afraid?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's kind of just at the back of our heads, like even like
Yeah.
getting a grab,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, okay, I just hope the driver's okay. You know, for
Yeah.
example, because we always have that in the back of our minds. I mean, like personally, I don't entirely feel safe,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I cannot let the fear to control me,
Yeah.
you know, to live my life.
Yeah,
so-
because this is who you are.
And like sometimes I do like prepare what to say just in case we get like stopped and whatnot. I already like prepare and I know like certain things that we will get charged, and I've never had to experience that. Like as a
Tenderness.
non-Muslim, like that's the privilege that we have, not having to fear what they will do to us,
Yeah.
because Muslim drag queens will face much more worse, and I've heard
Harsher
like
punishment.
stories and stuff. So, but yeah, like Kumela said, we kind of got like really used to it. It's in the back of our heads, and we're always careful. And that's why we asked you, like, is there someone downstairs? Just
make
we
sure,
don't
like,
get
quickly go
lost.
in,
Yes.
yeah.
What if we wait somewhere and then
Somebody
the anxiety
says
just
something,
like
yeah.
and it's
Completely
during the
understand.
daytime.
Yeah.
So
There's like safety in the night as well.
yeah.
What about you?
Well, growing up, I've had my fair share of like discrimination and alienation for being queer and for being feminine. So I've sort of just reached a point where like I don't give a fuck anymore. For me, I think it's first and foremost, I think I need to feel safe within myself.
Yeah.
And I just take it from there. If there's an opposition, if someone wants to, you know, call me out or whatever, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
You know,
I would be scared.
don't mess with a drag queen. This, you know, if that happens, it's gonna go viral, and it's not just this guy's body that's gonna get beat up. It's also his ego.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So-
obviously they're beating you up because they have some kind of internalized homophobia and to beat
Always.
up, but be beat up by a queen, I feel like good for
Oh,
honestly
like,
good for you guys. If you,
Especially, I heard like stories in Thailand where all these like tourists, they just make fun of the drag queens there, and you're not supposed to do that, and they just like took off their heels and chased after those like tourists, and they got beaten up, and
as they should.
they deserve it.
They completely
So-
deserve
like
it.
people
Something that I
think
would do.
that feminine, like being feminine presenting is being weak,
Yeah.
and I would
Yeah.
love to prove them wrong.
Yeah, that's also another thing that I love about drag, because I feel like the people who do drag and you queens, like you do really you love women. You know, there's a respect for women there that is just, it's so nice to see, because generally men in this world, not all men, but a lot of men who have this backward ways of thinking, they don't respect women. And I hate to see, especially women, look down on drag, because I think it's the most amazing form of like almost like reverence to women. Like I think it's amazing, because you're taking like the essence of like femininity but making it incredible and different, and pulling it and making gender something even bigger than what, you know, we do day to day, because we all express our gender every day, but in this sense it's really incredible. Yeah.
Woman is beautiful. Female energy is empowering.
Yeah.
You know, it's liberating.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
And it's nice to see like men able to enjoy their femininity, because that I feel like is the biggest issue. I think the more men that can kind of feel comfortable in the parts of them that are more soft and more female, the better men will be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and we are also trying to break the idea, like the man's idea of what women should look like, what
Yeah.
they should sound like, or they shouldn't have beard. You know, like women, there are women who are hairy, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's just like taking, like unlearning things. You know,
Unlearning,
you're conditioned to
exactly.
think women should look a certain way, and that's
Yeah.
why we just have to
Absolutely.
slowly unlearn and all
And
that
we're
stuff.
shattering that illusion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so this is a big question, but how did your families take it? Are they okay with it? Do they support it?
Well, I don't tell my parents about it, but my siblings know about it. My sister actually came to my first ever show at Rojak. At
Oh
Marketplace.
wow,
Yeah.
that's really
My brother
nice.
knows about it too, but not my parents. But I think they know.
They would kind of know, but maybe
I mean, my
not.
things are all around, so
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure they have a clue.
They
But
have
like,
an
if they were to ask, you know, I wouldn't have a problem to tell them.
To tell them,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not something you speak so openly with
No,
them.
no, 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 not in my household.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I think for me, because like everyone has a different upbringing and different background, and for myself, I don't have to face that in the sense that I grew up in an orphanage home. So I don't have parents, and I've never met them, and I don't have to deal with that. So I don't if the orphanage home, like the staff, they all find out I don't care because they're not really my family.
Yeah.
And I'm just lucky that not lucky, but I just don't have to face
You don't
that.
have to worry about that.
Yeah,
part. You have
it's not
your-
at the back of my
and,
head.
And in a sense, you get to have your chosen family.
Yeah, of course.
Which will accept you completely as you are.
I grew out of that like toxic environment that I was in, and like I grew up in a Christian home, so I just got out of it and then just started being myself more than to be controlled by the idea of me that they want.
Yeah,
and
but
I don't want that.
that's incredibly brave. That's
Yeah.
a very, very amazing.
It's
and
not an
brave thing to
easy journey, but you
wouldn't
know,
think so.
still fighting.
Yeah, but no, it's amazing to see you here. Like right now, I would never have guessed.
Yeah, imagine
Yeah.
like being an orphan, being an atheist, being gay, being
It's one
a
on top
feminine
of the
gay,
other.
and being a drag queen, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's not something that I asked for. It's just
it's just who you are.
yeah.
What about you, Miss Boom?
Well, I'm really grateful that my family knows and they're okay with it. It was not always like this though. There was lots of opposition in the beginning, especially due to being queer. And a lot of it came from fear, mostly.
Yeah.
You know, like they were just concerned that I'd be the target of a hate crime.
Yeah.
But somehow I kind of just kind of rebelled in my own way. And I used to just watch lots of RuPaul's Drag Race around the house to kind of normalize it and show that it's not necessarily immoral or stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm really, really blessed that my parents know I do drag. Most of my family members do know that I do drag, and yeah,
Wow.
but I guess they know it and they're okay with it, but they're kind of neutral about it at the same time. Like when I told my mom that I was doing the interview today for drag, and she was just like, "Oh wow, you're like really involved with this drag thing. Like, where do you think this is gonna take you?" And I was just like, I don't know.
It's gonna take you above and beyond, and
Yeah,
all over the
yeah.
world.
I mean, she doesn't understand, you know, the importance of
it's-
doing this for
yeah.
the community and
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, I mean, they still have their reservations, but I think at the end of the day, like, you know, there are photos of me in drag in my room and stuff, and I've shown my parents my videos, and hopefully they get to come to my shows when they can. So, yeah, I'm extremely blessed, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, is it better to be neutral? It's just better to be neutral more than. I mean, it would be great if it was like full support, but neutral for now is okay.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Still a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's especially in Asia. I mean, even in America and all of that, it's hard. But even in Asia, especially because
Especially
I think
if you're in an Indian family. I have to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess also there's like that added layer because of, you know, what's been happening with a lot of Indian men in Malaysia in police custody, that if that were to happen to you, touch wood, that it would never, that they would have that additional fear that, oh no, maybe he's going to be in drag. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's understandable because in Malaysia, is it illegal to do drag? I don't think so, right?
It's illegal to cross dress.
They see it as cross-dressing, like we see it as an art form, but you know
Yeah.
the law see it as like you're dressing as a woman. So if I was a lawyer, I would use that as my argument.
It's your argument, yeah,
like-
because you're technically not cross-dressing, you're performing.
yeah.
But what is cross dressing anyway? I mean, like, what's
Yeah.
the difference between a dress and a sarong?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see my dad in the house with his sarong. I'm like, that's a maxi skirt. You want to know something funny? My dad's term for queer people are alphabet people.
Alphabet Mafia, we call them on TikTok.
Oh really?
Yes,
Oh my god,
alphabet
he's
mafia.
ahead of the
It's a
trend. He
Yeah.
didn't even know.
I don't even know what it is.
I found that out on
So
TikTok,
old.
and a lot of people have been using it,
Alphabet
like hashtag
Mafia?
Alphabet Mafia.
Oh my god, I love it.
Just to avoid like the homophobics to like find us or something. I don't know.
But do you guys feel like social media has been a big part of what makes it easier?
Of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially in the pandemic.
Oh yeah. So how was it for you guys during because mostly is drag your full-time job?
No.
It's a half-time job.
Half-time job. Half-time. So it's you also have
Part-time.
your day job. But I'm sure that like the need for that expression to come out was big during the pandemic. How did you do anything or take a
We
break?
did like perform online, but it's
Yeah.
so different than
the same.
because we
Yeah.
need the energy, the crowd
Performing
You
in
need
energy.
front of
the-
the camera is different
Yeah.
than like,
Oh.
that was a
She's
bad
loud.
Mother Nature's calling. Yeah, but because you know it's different. Like in real life, you get the crowd's energy compared to like being in front of just the camera.
Yeah, it's
different,
hard to
you know?
because you gain energy from other
Totally.
people, but I guess try your best to make it work, right?
Yes.
scene?
It was really hard for me at the time. I've never done like a virtual performance except when we did 911.
Yes, for the QFCA.
Oh, yeah. It was really hard actually. Kumslut knows because I would be bugging her all the time, like, I need to perform, I need
Yes,
to perform,
she
I
did.
need to
You
perform,
need
I
it.
need to perform. And I think she got it from me like every week. So yeah, it was really, really hard though. I felt deprived. I felt like something I love was taken away from me. So, but you know, you can't control it. So it's just like, whatever.
But at least we were
Yeah.
still able to do, I think, something during the pandemic.
Yeah,
Because there were
yeah.
no more events, there were no more
Yeah.
I
parties.
mean, we did 911, your performance, and
Yes.
that definitely rejuvenated and brought back
That was so much
something.
fun.
That
So-
joy.
That joy, yeah. And I did get to perform once earlier this year in March. That's been really great. So somehow I kind of just, you kind of just learn to adapt.
Yeah. I think even living in Malaysia doing drag, you are adapting to this like kind of like underground way of performing and doing the whole thing. But do you feel it is very underground here?
I was
For the
considering
time
it,
being.
For the
but,
time being.
Although I do feel that our local prominence and our local visibility is slowly growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you what kind of keeps you going? Because I feel like sometimes when I see like we recently saw everything that happened with Sajad, and that really like I was just like, what why are you wasting time chasing this person? Like she's trans. Yeah, I get that you don't like that, but all she was doing was just like praying, being a good person, living her life, contributing to the economy. The way that they treated her, like I was just like, it made me so upset. Like, and how does that make you all feel? Do you feel like, kind of like how do you feel it for yourself as well?
I think they just want control, and we unfortunately are on the receiving end.
Yeah.
We're being used as like a scapegoat, and yeah, it's just unfortunate that like they like this stuff.
Yeah.
Trust me, they do like people like us, but they
Yeah.
because of how they were brought up and stuff, they are fighting that also at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scary, especially for actual trans women out there.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure that a lot of drag queens get mistaken as trans women and then they can get treated in that similar way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what keeps you going?
The passion.
Passion is
The passion, the love, the joy, the fulfillment that I get from just being able to flip my hair and take my clothes off on stage.
Yes.
I think for me, honestly, because when I started doing drag, I have honestly no idea what kind of effect or that I would have or feel or receive, what type of love that I would receive doing it. And honestly, getting the love from the people who come to our party and also the queens like you guys, like Carmen, when you started doing your thing too, like that makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing something right
Doing
here.
something right. Yeah.
Because like I saw you, we talked
Yeah,
about
of
it,
course.
you came to the party, you
Many
said you wanted to
times.
do drag, and this kind of thing. And you came out and you did everything and look where you are right now, honestly. And because of queens like you and you guys keep me going, honestly, to make me not want to stop and to just keep
Yeah.
pushing. And what I really love is that we get to do it together as Malaysian
Yeah.
queens.
Yes.
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 And I
That's
guess touching off on what Kumslut said, it's also so in addition to the passion and stuff, I also realized that we also need to do it for the community.
Yeah.
Because they do need that visibility.
Yeah.
And I also believe that we just need to just show people like, despite all these horrible things that are going on, we're still going to do our thing and perform and be fabulous.
Yeah.
And I feel like that within itself sends a message.
It's just like a protest in a way, you just why is it that existing as you are is a protest, but it isn't. I feel like I just feel like it's amazing. Like I can't say it enough,
Like
because
when we brought Shangri-La, there are people.
for
that-
those who don't know what is Shangri-La.
So Shangri-La is a queer party, like a mix of drag queens and techno. And it's a monthly held event. It's a themed party where you have to dress up according to the theme. So it's basically like Halloween every month.
Yes.
But it's queer and an inclusive party for anyone. So that's Shangri-La. And when we brought Shangri-La, like I have people coming up to me and say, thank you for bringing Shangri-La. Because of Shangri-La, I am able to I'm able to fuck. I'm losing words. Express myself like artistically and
Yeah.
like the way I want, because they say like they didn't have a party that they want to go to where they can dress up as who they are, but like more.
Yeah.
And Shangri-La is a place for them to do that.
Yeah, and I
And-
think it's like how you both were saying that you dress up the first time in drag on Halloween. You kind of give people that space.
Yes.
Every month, like this is our mini Halloween. If you want to dress
Yes.
however, just come.
Our
Yeah.
parties are definitely a safe space for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For
And
sure.
there are like a lot of new drag queens coming up, especially we see it on social media and
Yep.
during the lockdown.
Yeah.
I directed the Pass the Brush challenge,
Yeah.
and
yes,
that
I
went
saw that.
viral, and people are just like, I didn't know drag queens exist in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we put ourselves out there
Yeah.
to tell people that we exist. You know, not drag queens don't only exist in like your neighboring country, Thailand, Singapore,
No,
but there are
yeah.
Malaysian drag queens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And I guess like in a sense, we're all living in KL, Selangor, that maybe, and this is like the most liberal part of Malaysia. I wonder what it's like for queens who, it's not that they don't exist. Like I doubt that there's no drag queens in Kuantan or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm sure there
there
is.
are, and I
They're just
wonder-
waiting to come out.
Yeah, and I wonder if there are these pockets of like underground communities in all these, maybe more rural parts of Malaysia.
Let's go on a world tour.
Let's go on a road trip.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's have a drive. Let's go to Kelantan and Terengganu and what.
I went to Penang, like want to perform there, and I think there were like 2 drag queens.
Yeah.
But because it's still like quite new, they never seen a drag queen in real life before. Because of my interaction with them, it's just like a surprise to them. Like I'm a huge freak there. Even like Halloween is not like celebrated much in Penang
Oh,
as it
really?
is here in KL.
Yeah,
So-
I guess Penang is like a mini
Yeah.
KL. It's still not the same as living, in this liberal bubble
Yeah.
which we live in, which we try to push and make it bigger and bigger by having conversations like this. But generally, what is the response you get from people? Like if somebody sees you, just say walking on the street, do they ever say anything? And
No, they're intimidated.
Got
That's-
good and bad lah,
It's a mixture.
honestly,
Yeah.
of course. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh my god, so beautiful, can I take a picture? Oh,
Straight
Yeah.
girls
Really?
especially.
Yeah.
Or some they would just like scream gay or like
Pondan,
you
yeah.
know, things
Then we
like
just
that.
like
Like,
flip
yes,
our
miss.
hair.
Or flip them off.
yeah.
I've even walked past a police, like 3 policemen. They were dealing with something with like someone else. I was like, okay, please don't stop me. Please don't stop me. Let me just walk. I was in my neon green hair,
Wow.
and that is already grabbing a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I was like, okay, thank God they didn't stop me. I was walking with someone, so
But they
yeah.
probably, I guess, if they don't, how would they know?
Yeah.
Whether what your gender is. I guess they would just have to be making assumptions. But one thing, when I was doing research, which an article that said that when there was Shakespeare's time, all the men dressed as women. That was like a thing because women were not allowed to be actors.
Yeah.
Patriarchal shit.
Yeah, it was bullshit. But that was totally fine. Everybody's like, yeah, that's fine, that's normal. I think even in like Japanese
Yeah,
culture,
kabuki.
the men dress as women.
Yeah.
But somehow when it's not in a play, but it is a performance like this, it's not okay. Even though we've historically seen it. And I think that's so weird. Like, why did we... I wonder...
Colonization. Yeah.
You think that's
Or
what
is
it
the problem, is it because we are gay, that's why?
They were technically straight.
Technically
yeah.
straight.
lah.
So it's okay lah if you're straight to do drag, is it? But it's not okay if you're...
If you're queer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also, I think, where the term drag came from. Like, might not be right, but like there are people who say like dress as a girl,
Yeah,
DRAG,
dress as a girl, correct. Yes.
and it came from those time.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how like the term came about. Yeah.
That's interesting, very interesting. And what do you think the narrative is here in Malaysia around drag? Do you think it is people this? Generally, when I tell my people slightly older than me, like 10, 15 years, and I love going to drag parties, they'll be like, Malaysia got meh? Where is it? I was like, yeah, good. I go every month, like if I can lah. But people just feel like it doesn't exist, and I don't like. Do you generally get that kind of response when you talk to people about what you do that they don't know?
Yeah, for the most part. Like on Tinder matches and stuff.
Hmm.
Sometimes because I would put photos of myself like in drag and out of drag, and they would be like, "Oh my god, you do drag? There are shows here."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get that very often. Yeah.
Like
Well, so what is it like to date as a drag queen? It's the same,
I
right?
think it's so
Any
much
different?
easier now thanks to RuPaul's Drag Race for making it mainstream.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, before that I wouldn't tell anyone I do drag, but now it's much more accepted in the community and it's much more respected, which I like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just I just tell them I do drag and they just get excited about it.
They like it.
Yeah, but before that, when I started, it's just like I try to hide it because I don't want
So like
to.
it would be like if somebody found out, they'd be like, oh no, I don't want to date
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But ever since like Drag Race became mainstream, it's just like so much respect.
Yeah, I mean, I know people have a lot of
there.
things to say about like RuPaul, but I do think that like Drag
Fracking.
Race is like the American Idol of drag, I guess, and it's so mainstream. It's actually on
It's
Netflix.
the Super Bowl of drag.
Super Bowl of drag. Sorry, you know, me and my friends, we were actually watching the last episode of Drag Race, and we made a bunch of food, and then we were like sliders, fries, nachos. Like, oh my god, and wings. Did we just make a Super Bowl spread for Drag Race finale?
Love it.
That's how you should enjoy Drag Race.
Oh hell yeah! Every week.
Like speaking of drag exposure here in Malaysia, I think it's important for like your company, like the Woke Up Show, inviting us. It's already like putting us out there and
Yeah.
giving us the platform to be visible.
Yeah.
That we exist. Like hire us for catwalk or something. We can do fashion.
Yeah.
It starts.
Hosting,
Yeah,
performing.
start
Yeah.
including us in
In
your-
like mainstream
Yeah.
like events. It doesn't have to be like, oh wait, if a drag queen is hosting, it's a gay event, it's a queer event, it's a
No.
drag event. It can be for
Yeah.
anything.
Mhm.
But how did you were saying you performed that queer, what was it called? Oh no,
Rainbow
Roja.
Rainbow Roja. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of Queer Lapis. That's another.
That's a website.
That's a website, right? Rainbow Roja. How did that start?
How,
Do you know how it started?
I think it started back in 2011 or 2012.
2012.
It's
By-
also
by
very
Jerome.
recent.
So it's it was
founded by
started by
Jerome.
Jerome,
Yes.
and sort of just started off as a very
It was just more of like DJs
Yeah.
and it's just a party, like music
yeah.
and party. And then but you also performed once, I forgot.
Palette.
Palette. This was
2014.
before.
This is before drag.
Before
actually.
drag.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So my best friend Roshi was he signed on to be one of the DJs at Rainbow Roja. So from there he started. We would all come and
Yes.
and I expressed my interest to perform, and then that's how we got acquainted with like the Rojak people.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you started like going full pelt with drag. And
Yes.
then, if I'm not mistaken, Jerome asked you to
Yeah,
perform.
end of 2016. Yeah, so actually throughout 2014 or 15 maybe, I think we start, or 2013, I'm not too sure. So we were just going to the parties, just like a group of friends, we
just as
hang
a
out.
attendees.
Yes.
Just kind of entering that community.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then everything just started to happen, and then we were performing
Yes.
until like to this day,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
But it's nice that you were able to find your community. Like,
Yeah.
how if like there was somebody who's watching who's like kind of like they're queer, maybe they're in the closet, they just don't know. How would they be able to find this community?
social media.
Social
Yeah.
media.
Social
basically,
media.
yeah. Because a lot of these parties we do it like through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For security purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Safety
course.
reasons.
It's like if you
Yeah.
know, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta know someone who knows
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah, like how I first found out about Shangri-La was from Alex TBH posted it on his Insta story.
Mhm.
And so then I clicked it and I was like, no way, this is crazy, this is amazing. I told all my girls we're going, like we have to see what this is, because I didn't know. I didn't know it existed to this degree in Malaysia, and when we went, I think we were just like, yes, this is our people. Like we feel like so at home in that space because it's a safe space. Like you go to a straight party, you're not always that safe
Yeah.
with the way that straight men like treat women.
Mhm.
Like
the
you know,
songs are boring.
yeah, their songs are boring and nobody.
Let's not get started on the music.
And no, every time I tell my friends, I was like, ain't nobody throw a party like a drag queen, because those parties they're so fun and they're so well put together. It's not just that like, oh, you guys are good at partying, you're good at event planning. Like, it's something that I wish more people could know about. But do you also feel like you need to keep it small to be safe?
Not super small. I think it's still okay
It's
to a
still,
certain
yeah.
extent because we
Because of the
have our
space we have
followers.
also.
Yeah.
But I think at this point we are forced to keep it small, but because of the pandemic.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
I
But
mean,
if we didn't have a pandemic,
We'd
yeah.
probably be more out
I think
there,
we would definitely go big.
For sure.
I definitely anticipate like when this is completely over, when we can walk out without masks. I just know like whichever drag oriented party, I just know like the turnout is going to be insane. Yeah.
I think it's very important, like for whoever feels like they don't have friends or they don't know, they don't have any like support system or whatnot, like
To just find community.
to come to these parties and find your family, make friends. You know, I think that's kind of like the whole purpose too. Like one of the purpose too, that
I mean,
why
that's
we
how
have.
we found our community with Rainbow Rojak.
That's true, and our group of friends as well. You know, so when you come to the party, you make friends.
Just put
you know.
yourself out there.
Yes,
Like people are going to be welcoming and accepting. And I think that's the fear, because probably for most queer people growing up, they're so rejected constantly that there's that fear if they go in, they're like kind of like put themselves out there, that's going to happen again. But that's
at least like you come here, it's seriously, there's no judgment here. You can just be completely yourself.
You can like literally do anything.
We
wear
literally
anything.
welcome that. Like we literally welcome you to just express and be whatever you want to be.
I think that's why it's so important. I think for us, we experienced that when we went to the party. We know how important having this safe space is. That's why we continue with whatever ways that we can do. We continue to do
Basically
more parties.
paid forward.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think, how a lot of people, they talk about like drag, right? Like they're just like, oh, they just want to do this stuff because they want to be provocative and they want to push it. They want to just like do too much. But like, what would you say to someone who was saying
wrong
something
with that?
like that?
Yeah.
True that.
Understand.
Well, I guess they're right. We do want to be provocative. We do want to push those boundaries, and
They're
We
like,
don't want to be boring.
Oh, right, you're uncomfortable, is it? Because you like.
Exactly.
It's usually like that.
Exactly. I always feel that when people are a bit too uncomfortable with something, maybe it's hitting them a little personally.
That's not our problem.
That's
though,
not our
so that's your problem.
But
I mean, people are always going to. There's always going to be some sort of opposition. So just live your life.
But I think it's brave for you to say that here in Malaysia, though. We don't live in that kind of country where I feel like it's safe. I think that everything you guys do is so brave. But I wish that we could like rewrite the narrative here in Malaysia. And what do you think we can do, though? Do you think it's just continuing to push it and keep doing it? And
I'd like to think that we are slowly rewriting the narrative. Of course, the media is always going to be,
but that's not your narrative, though.
Yeah, exactly. They're always going to be. I mean, the media, of course, are going to spin stuff to fit their own agendas. Like they say, like we're this, we're that, we're evil, whatever. But then, like when you talk to so much of people, most of them are really receptive, actually. So I mean, even when I like at my day job and stuff, I'm really open about me doing drag, and I've even done drag at like corporate events. So so it's actually totally fine. So I believe like just by what we're doing right now is already slowly changing it, because this is a close-minded country, but this is why we are here. We have to be visible and go through all that bullshit and then eventually push for change.
You're not gonna stop us no matter what.
Exactly.
You're not. You cannot erase us, because we are here, we exist. Even if you erase us, there'll be somebody else.
Yeah, we
just
exist
like us.
in numbers.
We're gonna continue.
And it was pretty funny because when the Pass the Brush challenge blew up, because we all have a drag queen group. On WhatsApp. So people were like some of the queens were expressing their concerns because the video got onto some like super conservative Telegram group, and they were saying stuff like, "Oh my God, these people like have a gang now. Like they're like all together." I'm just like, "Fuck it's a mob."
It is. But like a lot of the comments were like positive. Like it was very well received until someone had to ruin it. But it was still well received, and also sometimes I think like if you have a bigger platform, you use that platform for good to educate like people.
100%. I mean, that's why we like on this show we always say we want to like every season I try and push it a little bit more. Even if someone say, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." If you ask me, "Are you sure?" I'm gonna do it anyway, because like if we don't talk about it, then we make it so that people feel uncomfortable. But I think. Even the other day, I don't know what order the episode's going to come out in, there was one guy who had a disability who came and he just, right off the bat, made a joke about it. And immediately we could all be comfortable in it because he was comfortable in himself. And so I feel like when you guys sit here, we all feel comfortable because you're so comfortable in yourself, you're being yourself. And I think just that alone is rewriting the narrative, because if you was to still hide, you would be kind of falling into what the media has put out, which is just so, it's just wrong.
I think that's
Yeah.
ultimately what we want, to just show like it's not that you can, but you must express your authentic self, however that may manifest.
Yeah.
So through drag, it's just one of the most extreme avenues of expression. Yeah.
It's an extreme sport. It is. I see those heels.
You could say
I see those heels.
Yeah.
They're my jogging shoes.
This is just the day shoes.
It's a weapon
you know.
too.
Yeah, it's a weapon too.
So I wanted to ask you all about balls, drag balls,
Balls or like
drag balls.
not the
Right.
male at
Not
all.
the male, not the male.
Not that balls.
Not that balls, but we can talk a little bit about
Berlin
getting
is
to drag.
burning.
Yeah, so is there only one ball in Malaysia, or are there many?
I think there are like Teddy
ballrooms.
hosts like
Yeah,
his
there are
own private ball.
parties.
Are you guys
here.
part of the ballroom scene?
That's
Not
more
really.
towards the. That's actually more towards the dance scene here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
the
not
ballrooms.
just drag.
No,
No,
no.
anyone
Drag is
can.
part of it.
Part of the
Yes.
ballroom
Yes,
culture. Okay,
yes.
okay. Because I've been to a couple of balls, and I guess you're right. There aren't always drag queens
No.
there. I guess it's just very heavily associated together.
Yep.
But speaking of balls, how do you guys? How is the process of getting into drag?
Tucking.
Well, so what are the steps?
I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is different. I mean, like personally, I don't always tuck, just sometimes that I do. So what I do is I put on a one size smaller underwear, okay, and I'll put my
Soldier.
thing like that, and then I'll just There's actually like sockets inside there, so we put the balls.
Put it right back where they
Yeah,
came
you
from.
can
in the
push it up.
Yeah, push
Yeah.
it, and then you just put the dick down like that. Wear the underwear, and then I wear my stockings, 2 layers at least. Yeah, to just
Keep it all tight. Feel safe.
Yes.
I actually learned tucking from Pornhub. That's where they
Oh!
teach you. Yeah.
What is that, boomer bangs?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But like now I don't tuck anymore because I pad. So padding like gives me space too.
I see, I
Nice.
see. So there's tucking, there's padding, then you have to wear tights. What else do you have to do?
Wigs installed. Sometimes it's really tight. For me personally, I have face tape to pull my skin back.
Snatch it back.
Yeah. And
Face
then this is heavy too.
The breastplate.
Yeah. This is just like silicone boobs. I got it from Shopee.
Oh, nice. We can create
Yeah.
a Shopee shopping list for everyone who wants to
Yeah.
start drag.
Like
what-
I use a thing called a gaff.
Okay.
It's actually homemade. That's what I love about it. Because usually when you think tuck, you think like medical tape. Honestly, I can't do that. That's insane. I drink a lot of water. So
Oh yeah, you can't pee.
if you pull on like medical tape, right?
Yeah.
And I think to just take it off is also probably going to be hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm not gonna do that to myself. So there's this beautiful invention called a gaff. So basically, I'll do my best to describe it. It's basically a tube sock.
Okay.
Okay, so I take a tube sock and I hollow it out,
All
and then I take the top part of tights, the elastic part,
Okay.
and then you kind of just like it's actually a thong. You kind of make it a thong, like a tucking thong.
Okay.
And then all I do is just that I just push my genitals to the back, and then the elastic part just holds on to my butt crack.
It has to be super tight, lah, of course, right?
It can be, but it can dislodge from time to time. So when I do that, that's when I just wear like a layer of tights. But
yeah.
it also depends on what I'm wearing.
you're wearing,
So if
right?
I'm wearing maybe like a bodysuit, then I know I have to like really, really tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm wearing like, for example, like short shorts, and if it's like not extremely tight, then I won't have to worry so much about it.
But if you're a drag queen, is tucking something that's like necessary and part
It
of
depends
drag?
on what
Depends on
Depends on
what
the
illusion you want
yeah.
to give.
Yeah.
Okay,
basically.
okay.
It's not right or wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It used to be, but now there's so many ways
Now,
to
like,
hide
yeah.
There's even like tucking panties specifically.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like for even for trans
it.
women.
Yeah.
Yes, while
Yeah.
they're in the process of transitioning
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make them more comfortable. Wow, there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot. I mean, if you want to do drag, there's a lot of
There's
things
a lot
you have
you need to
It is,
learn.
it is just
Yeah.
different for like each queen. So like for myself, because I do heavy dancing and I
Mm.
love being able to flip my hair on stage. So I usually have to like, buy like double-sided tape and I just tape as much
to your
as I
actual
can.
hair.
I mean I have a wig cap
Wig
underneath.
cap. Okay.
Yeah, so I just tape as much as I can and yeah, and I just flip it and take that risk, but it's never failed me.
It's never failed you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has
So,
threatened to fail me once. But
so that's so we were saying tucking, tights, breastplate. Then you have the wigs and the double-sided tape. What else is there?
Makeup,
Makeup,
shoes,
Shoes.
outfits.
Lipstick.
accessories.
So because a
yeah.
lot of us love doing reveals,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yes.
so
the
it's all about
reveal.
getting a nice overcoat.
Yeah.
And in a
that.
hot and humid country, that's not easy.
I wouldn't think so. Did you guys see A$AP Rocky's outfit at the Met Gala where he was wearing this like big blanket?
Yeah, with
And
Rihanna.
and he was with Rihanna, and everybody was like, "Oh, when they're about to lip sync for their life and they have a reveal."
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Aquarius season, that one was funny.
And also the music, your song choices, like
Yeah.
what you want to do, all this kind of thing, your little
The
gimmicks.
length,
Yeah,
and
the
planning out the
props.
energy.
When the music hits or the beat drops, like your timing,
Do you
all
guys
those kind of
ever
things.
take classes or anything, or it's
No,
self-learned?
I mean, I don't.
Self-taught.
I mean,
Everything
just
is
in front of the
self-taught.
mirror.
In
Yeah.
front of the mirror. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just grateful to have lots of like high school experience.
Yeah.
So that's very.
But then
very
also,
helpful.
that's a testament to you, being brave enough to perform in high school like that. Because I remember in high school, like, it's not that the boys and all were like homophobic, but the word gay was often used as an
Yeah.
insult.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
thrown in that way.
Yeah.
I remember my mom, once my sister or we said something like, that's gay, and I was like, no. Being gay doesn't mean that it's stupid. You can't use it like that. I was like, okay, mom.
Yeah.
She was telling us how it is.
Love mom,
Yeah.
love mom.
Like in Malaysian context, we get like pondan a lot.
Yeah.
And I used to
Pondan,
get called
sisi,
that. Yeah.
Mm.
I was
manya.
like, are you trying to insult me because you're stating a fact, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know what they want to get out of me. I guess they
Yeah.
just want to insult me, but I don't feel
But
insulted
yeah.
because I am pondan. But
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
It's true anyway, right?
Yeah.
I think so much of it is like reclaiming all the things that were thrown at you. I mean, yeah, call me that. So what?
And we call each other that all the time too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when we first started to get to know each other, like outside of drag, like Kumela always used this term, Aqua Nation.
Yeah.
And
Aqua.
like you always yeah, always. And you always be like, Aqua Nation this, Aqua Nation that. Little did you know, you kind of basically birthed a whole like wave of queens, like actual Aqua Nation.
Yeah.
And what does that mean, Aquanation?
So aqua means
What?
pondan. lah in-
Oh!
Yeah, aqua.
Oh, in Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was AQUA. No, it's
It's AQUA.
Q-U-A.
Yeah. Aqua.
A-H, I don't know. It
Yeah.
depends lah, but
Ah,
it's
okay,
now,
okay.
so
But
yeah,
it's-
that one. Yeah.
no, yeah, and I think that generally this whole like even though queer is a reclaimed word,
Mhm.
I mean I think every like subset of community has their certain words. Is it okay for
Like
everybody?
ombode, like number 9. I don't know why they use number 9 because they used like an Indian pondan. Because I'm half Indian, half Chinese, so like I get called ombode at like the orphanage
Oh,
home.
really?
And I was like, okay, what about number 9?
Yeah, I
think-
never understood that either.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, lots of slurs are just born out of nonsense.
Is that
Yeah.
like mak kau hijau? Is it
Yeah,
like one of those things?
But Makau Hijau also is like,
It's like
Does it
your
it's
mom's
not
sense,
even
right?
a slur. I don't know why
It's
it became
supposed
like.
to be, right?
Yeah, it's
What
like
is
Makau Hijau. It's a new Malaysian like term.
Makau hijau. Does that mean your mom is
Yeah, your
green?
mom is
Yes.
green. But,
But they
there's-
use it as an
It
insult.
was used
I
as
don't
an
know.
insult, yeah.
I would just
Yeah.
be truly confused.
It came
I'd be
from a meme.
I think it's them
Yeah.
trying to pull like a your mama joke.
Yeah, like your
My
mom is
mom's not
green.
Fiona.
But is it okay for people who are not in the drag community to use certain words like that? Is
if
it like
you're
Depends on
gay, yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, of course not. You're not going to a random person and say, "Hey, open that," right?
No, maybe
Yeah.
not punna and all that. I feel like if you're close and you can joke in that way, I think
Yeah.
it's okay. But there are certain words you should be careful with. And what are the words that you think that people it's okay to use? Is cross-dresser okay? I feel like that's also a bit of a
I feel like it's a very outdated term.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it depends how they say it.
I mean, it
You
all
know what
boils
I
down to
mean?
intention.
Yeah.
Of course, there are certain words you just don't use,
Yeah.
like the faggot word.
Oh,
I
yes,
think that's
yeah.
definitely a no. I think
No.
gay. I mean, if they were to ask, like, "Are you gay?" I think it's still okay.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
You know, are you
But
homosexual?
how they say, how they
Yeah.
deliver it. That,
Yeah, definitely.
because you can tell if it's an insult.
If they
or
ask
not.
you like, "Are you gay?" Like that, then of course, then I know. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something's not right with you.
I'd be like, are
Yeah.
you? Why are you so concerned?
Yeah.
Why you
Yeah. You gay, is it?
I think the most annoying way when someone asks you if you're gay, be like, are you?
Are
I'm
you
just like,
the
oh my
limpress?
God,
That's
it's
the
like
sign.
The
about
stupidest thing
this?
ever. Yeah, yeah, we could be gay and do this.
Yeah,
You don't know what we
fisting.
like. But do you guys know older queens who have
Yeah.
been doing it for
Yeah.
Like
20, 30 years?
Yes.
How, and speaking to them and how it is now, is it a big difference?
Of course, their time when they started and what they went through is totally different from us.
Yeah.
Right now, we are definitely more exposed. There's a lot of things we are more exposed to.
Yeah.
And times have changed. People, I guess, are somewhat more accepting in the city
Yeah.
at least.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
in the
know,
city,
in the
definitely.
city at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
So,
And also like the older generation, they have like this house and a
Yes.
house mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Is
now
that
it's
a
more
thing
like
here? Are you
it
guys
is
part of
there.
houses?
We
No.
have our own house,
You
but
have your
like
own
just
house.
like sisters.
Okay.
There's no like mother,
There's no
house mother,
mother.
because we didn't want to create that hierarchy. Like, oh, you have to listen to me and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We just like see each other as sister, and there are queens who are independent, and that's okay also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. It seems like the community, at least in itself, is very open, very accepting. Is there any cattiness, any bitchiness, or
is that
I'm
we can
sure
do
there
this?
is. But we, in the end, we have to look out for each other
Yeah.
because it's
Yes.
a small community.
It's true.
You know,
it's like the fight is still
it's not as
ongoing.
intense as the US, but here
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
just
guess also the community there is so big, and like
Yeah.
they literally had I don't know what is a minister called in America. When AOC came on the
AOC.
show, what is she called? A politician, like be on RuPaul's Drag Race as a judge. That like obviously drag in America is very different than here in Malaysia. I
Yeah.
don't know if when we will see politicians even acknowledging
Yeah.
that this exists.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's I don't know, like for me it's just like there's so many things in Malaysia that people kind of they say is okay. Like we've had people in the government talk about child marriage and they say that that's our culture, it's fine. But that is not fine, a child cannot consent, that is never okay. But then they look at people who are just enjoying for themselves and in the LGBT community, not even doing drag, just being gay.
Yeah.
And that is seen as like so bad, the worst thing ever. And it's just like I can't brain it because I shouldn't be. If I could brain it, I wouldn't be on the woke show.
I mean, it's so funny because they think like, we are here spreading like the gay agenda and whatnot. And I'm like, if you come to our parties, we're not going to tell you to be gay. We just want you to be yourself and love yourself.
Yeah.
Actually, we
That's
are not.
the agenda.
That's the agenda.
Yeah, that's the agenda.
That's
to
the
to just
agenda.
express yourself, to be yourself, to love
Authenticity.
yourself. We are not here trying to like,
Self-love.
hey, come,
Come
be
be
gay.
gay, yeah. Be
You
gay.
know? I mean, like, no one does
No,
that.
that's like the number one thing that like homophobes will assume is that you are trying to turn them gay, but people are born that way.
Unless they're feeling a little bit gay.
They're
and
always
they're a bit
feeling
like,
it a bit lah. That's why they're so upset. But yeah, I mean, I think it's this whole how would in an ideal world, how do you think this would look in Malaysia? Just say in the next 10 years.
God, I don't even think we will see.
Do you think it will change?
I
in
feel
10
like
years?
Malaysia, like
Definitely.
Yeah.
But
maybe
maybe it may not be as extreme. I
Mm.
don't know if being too idealistic is beneficial, but I definitely believe that there'll be so much more openness. I
Mm.
think at the least we can just have less discrimination.
Yeah.
For me, I feel as long as the law doesn't change,
Mm.
we will
Nothing
not
will
really
change.
see the change. I mean, like, come on, for this past, 60 years or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, we did see some changes, but not the kind of change that we want to see.
yeah.
Yeah,
And drag
and-
queens was accepted like way before.
Yeah.
What's the two drag queens' name? They were in media, in TV.
Or you mean like
Yes.
for Jangan
Yes.
Ketawa? Jangan Ketawa, yeah, so they used to have this show called
Yeah.
Jangan Ketawa. It's like a comedy
Mhm.
sitcom. So they have Moon and Dee, who
Yeah, Moon
are
and Dee.
drag queens in the
In
show.
the
In the
media, in
show.
TV show,
Malaysia.
and it was so much more accepting. Like,
Yeah. And
way
they don't
back then.
mock.
Yeah,
The thing
it wasn't
is that
a
they don't
mockery.
mock.
Yeah,
It's comedy,
yeah.
but they
Yes.
don't mock.
That's true.
the queens or-
Just because there's a drag queen on show doesn't mean they have to be the butt of the joke.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. The situation is the joke. The jokes are the jokes, but not them.
But not
Not them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Exactly.
makes a difference.
But now
Exactly.
it is like that, like we're the butt of the joke, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Still,
Because they want
definitely.
our butts.
And then we don't want them to see us that way. That's why we want to be like taken seriously.
Yeah.
It's a profession.
It's an
Yeah.
art form.
Yeah.
It is.
100%. When I saw you, all of you doing your makeup earlier, even when you walked in, I was just like, oh, this is not what I could do. I don't think any of us could just easily do what you all do. It is
Yeah.
art.
Takes
Definitely.
practice. For sure.
Takes time.
Passion.
Passion.
Discipline.
And-
Effort.
Yeah.
That's why if you want to hire us for your party and whatever, pay
contact
us. You're
us.
paying for all of
And
this
tip us.
hard work.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tipping.
drag is not cheap.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would not think so.
It's not.
Actually in India, they recognize like 3 genders. And like,
Yeah.
yes,
They have, like,
yes.
the
And
third
there was
gender.
even, my mom was telling me they were watching this show and there was one trans woman who was there and she was one of the first people I think ever to get her gender changed on her passport. So it's not impossible that even in Asia, in these conservative countries, that this is possible, because it really is nobody else's goddamn business, you know, like what you do with your own expression. Obviously, if you're pushing it on to someone else, that's not right in any way, you know. For a queen doing it to someone else or someone else doing it to a queen, no matter what, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that the issue is that people take it personally when you are doing something. It's like they're taking it like, oh, this man decides to wear these 10-inch heels and I feel offended. What does it have to do with you?
It's because they're threatened. That's
Yeah.
it. How I see it is that, like, the reason why people insult you and stuff is because probably they were in an environment where they were not allowed to just express themselves freely. So of course, when you see someone else doing that, they're like, "That's not right. I wasn't allowed that. So I want to take it away from you." I guess that's how I see it.
Yeah.
They feel like not fair.
Yeah.
Not
In a
fair.
way.
Yeah.
So if I didn't get it good, you can't get it good
I
too.
I really hate that mindset, because I'm always like, if you walked 5 steps forward and you could teach someone to do it with 2 steps, why do you force them to do it just because you had to? They never want to. A lot of people, they feel almost resentful that they had to pave the way. But I think that if you can, you should, and then you make it easier for the next person who's coming up, and then you go more and more forward. But a lot of people are stuck in that resentful state of mind where they see people authentically being themselves and they never got that chance, and it makes them angry versus making them happy that you are able to do so now.
For me, I totally get it, right? Okay, we live in this world. Okay, there's always good and bad. There's gonna be people who understand us and love us and support us, and there'll be people who don't,
Yeah.
right? And I just feel like for us, we cannot help it, for who we are. This is just who we are. Whatever that we love to do, performing or whatever, we cannot help it. I mean, do you think we would want to choose a life that is difficult to live?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the biggest point here.
Who
Like,
would want
yeah.
to
choose
choose to live a difficult life honestly? But of course, like now I've been living, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't want to change my life for anything, even though despite all the challenges that I've gone through, because like after all of that, all of my experiences, I've learned so much and I've met amazing people. I feel like if I weren't who I am, I wouldn't meet the people
and you
or
wouldn't
have
be
the
as
experience.
comfortable with yourself as you are.
Totally.
Sometimes I just question, like, what if I was straight? I wouldn't be, would I be as creative as I am? And sometimes, like, it's like also like the struggles that you go through, that you learn a lot of things instead of like sticking to an ideal like concept of what, like, how we should live our life.
And I think the more people that the more people that be themselves authentically, the more interesting the world gets. And I think that people like you make the world more interesting and more fun and more colorful. And like, why don't we want to live in a fun, colorful world full of gay people everywhere? That's my ideal world.
I just think it's just difficult for people in general. Okay, because like I feel like when we were born, right? The minute we are born, we grow up, we are basically taught how to live life, right?
How to
Are
be,
slapped onto you.
The minute you're like come out of this world.
Yes, to learn this language, to speak like that, to behave like that, and that kind of thing, And I think it's hard for certain people to break off that thing and think for themselves and decide for themselves for what they want, the decisions they make in their life.
Yeah.
Because they're so used
You're so conditioned.
Yeah, so conditioned to having, I guess, the world
The,
tell
like,
them how they should
predetermined
live,
standard,
So it's
yeah.
very, so that's why I guess that's why even when we were young, we would think like, is it really wrong, like for me to feel this way,
Yeah.
like to be gay, like
To be able to
Yeah.
question that.
yes,
Yeah.
is it really wrong, like that kind of thing, I feel this is something that we shouldn't question, you know what I mean, like as a young child even. We shouldn't need to like
It
question
shouldn't
that
be like,
how we
is
feel
this
is wrong.
wrong?
Yeah.
Be like, oh, can I try this? It would be nice if that you felt that instead
Yeah.
of like, oh, if I kind of feel like wearing my mom's dress, like
Yeah.
it's not like, should I not do this because I'm
Yeah.
a boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, like hatred is taught.
Exactly.
I thought it was like having like feelings for guys, like same-sex attraction when I was like 6. I thought it was completely, normal.
Yeah.
And until I was taught like being gay is wrong, and at the time being gay means like happy. So,
Literally. That's
Literally.
until like religion like teaches you, like some religion teaches you like being this is wrong and that is wrong, and then that's where I started questioning myself. But before that I was like completely fine. It was like having a natural attraction,
yeah.
For me, it's like, okay, whatever. You want to disagree with us, okay, you don't accept the way that we are, it's fine. But the problem that I have is when you start having violence.
Yeah.
I think that is the problem here. I mean, like, for me, I'm totally fine. You want to say, you want to discriminate, you want to say all you want. But the minute you hurt somebody physically with violence, that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
That really needs
And
to change.
does that happen a lot here in Malaysia?
There are cases, like I remember there's a trans Indian woman in Klang. She was beat up like by 5 men.
yeah.
Yes. Things like
So
that. She was just like
scary.
left there, I
Yeah.
think, by the road or something.
But also like
That's very
it's
scary.
actually also so much worse in the West. We think the West is much safer because Western people are more verbal,
Yeah.
and Malaysians they don't like
They don't
verbalize.
talk, yeah.
Yeah,
They
they
have
just do it
Yeah.
online most of the time, which I think it's also like safer if it's online, but it's not encouraged at all.
Of course,
Yeah.
like cyberbullying is not right, but it's not like it can result in someone physically hurting themselves or
Yes.
being hurt, but
Yes.
it's not the same as somebody pulling you on the street like that woman and beating you up. Like that is very scary.
That's
It
why
is
I guess for whoever wants to start doing drag and this kind of thing, I think it's very important for them to feel really good about themselves before they actually do it, because you don't really know what you're about to
Yeah.
get later on.
And also like a community.
A community.
Yes.
The
Because you will
safety
have
of
your
others,
friends
yeah.
will
Yes.
support you. You
Yeah.
feel safe around like other people doing. I wouldn't have like done it if it wasn't for Kumela. Like I didn't want to do it alone, and I saw her. I was like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start doing
Like,
it.
like I was also concerned for my safety at that time, but you were just proving to us that you can do it and you're thriving. And
Yeah.
she was just slaying it no matter
Yeah.
what.
I just wanted to perform, and I'm so happy. Like right now, I get to do it.
Yeah.
And then now it's
Yeah.
trickled on down to the young people like who are
Yes.
coming up to
Yeah.
me
I
saying
mean,
like,
exactly.
oh my god, like I didn't know drag queens exist after I saw you on TikTok and all that
Yes.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just we're passing on like the baton or something.
Oh, the brush.
Oh, the brush.
Yes.
But it's not. Thank God for social media for that fact. You can.
For sure.
It's much easier to find a community. It's much easier to feel safe.
Yep.
Did you guys always feel safe with your friends? Did they always
Yeah.
accept?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Actually, I
nice.
never
So
had to
grateful.
question.
Yeah.
Actually, like to do this, like even like with my partner, like I never had to question, like if do I like need to tell him, like I just in fact he encouraged me to.
That's
to do
amazing.
so.
Like
That's
when
really
I
beautiful.
first started going out, like just gay clubbing, and when I met you for the first time,
Yes.
I think you were wearing your healer shoes.
Yeah.
You had like I think you had your pink hair, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this person is just flamboyant like me too. And it was just instant like kinship and just to know that you're not the only one.
Yeah.
With these different desires for alternative expression. Yeah, that definitely helped so much.
Yeah. And you like taking a step further, you going in drag in Bukit Bintang Pavilion. I was like,
Oh,
wait, I can do
wow.
that too.
For
I was
Fashion
like,
Week.
Yes, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. When I saw her do that, I was like,
Trailblazing.
wait, that's like really brave, like doing during daytime in front of like a lot of people. And it's like, I thought to myself, I can do that too. And I just started thinking about it, and then yeah.
And we walk in a fashion show together. Too,
Yes,
for
in
Bahati.
Malta for Bahati.
Yes, we were on TV too.
TV3.
TV3.
Yeah.
On Nona, actually.
I guess
I don't
that
even know if
They didn't know. I don't think they
didn't
know.
censor us or
Oh, they
anything.
didn't know.
Yeah. We were the tallest.
But we were in hijab. We were
Yes.
in hijab, by the way. Yes,
Was-
covered full.
Wow,
full.
please
The
send
only
me a
time I
picture of
halal
that
up
if you
myself,
have it.
guys, is that
Oh, I
time.
have it.
The only time I halal up myself.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is
So nice.
trailblazing if I've ever heard it.
And it was drizzling
add
too,
to
so
that
dramatic.
as
Yeah.
well. We were actually Camilla Hellis, another amazing drag queen, and myself. We were actually featured in not one but 2 print magazines this year.
Yes.
So for me, that is just monumental within itself. And, you know, because for me, like, all this while, you know, the representation of like queer or, you know, just drag queens were always just negative, and for once we, you know, there was just a spread of us just, you know, sharing our stories and, you know, just looking really
That was
fierce.
definitely a moment, because like for me as a
Such
fashion
a big
photographer,
deal.
you know, I've seen my editorial works in the fashion Malaysian local fashion magazine, but like I would never expect me in drag to be featured in the Malaysian fashion magazine, you know.
It's
so that
almost
was,
like art has caught up, but culture quite hasn't, and maybe art will push culture to kind of meet it together. And it's nice to hear you say things like this. The traditional media is taking on drag. It's not just social media, because that's where we're gonna see the change. It needs to trickle to that point.
correct.
It was definitely just so surreal, like buying those
I
magazines.
bet.
Physically,
Going
right?
to the store and be like, oh my god, and then like, I just grabbed all the copies I had. I was getting for you too.
Yes.
You know, and I went to the cashier and she was kind of curious, like, why is this person buying like 3 copies of the same magazine? And she was like, oh, are you buying these for like decoration? I was like, no, like I'm in it. But
Did you
mind
show her?
Yeah, I did. I was out of drag, and yeah, I just I flipped to like my page and I was like, that's me. And she was like, wow, like this is stunning. And I was like, thank you. And she was just like, you should be proud. So that was a really heartwarming moment.
Of course, it's also a different feeling, right? Because we're so used to seeing our articles like online,
Yes.
but to see like printed,
Physical.
And
It's always-
as 90s kids, you know, magazines were a big part of
Yes.
at least my childhood.
Me too.
So yeah, so
I
you
would
know,
buy magazines
holding
for
that
posters.
tangible thing is just priceless.
Yes.
All right. So I mean, I've really been enjoying this conversation. I don't want to cut it short, but it's already been an hour. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to say? Anything you feel like if people are watching and they don't know it, but they should know about drag?
We're only human, you know, and we have feelings, and we love, and we want to be loved.
Just because you look like a fantasy doesn't mean you're not a person.
Well,
Wow. I love that quote.
I just made it up.
I want that. Okay, if you're like starting drag, just start. Like, don't worry about like fucking up your makeup, and it's a learning process. Like,
Yeah.
in fact, you should have some fuck up.
yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look back at my old makeup, I'm like, oh, I could have done better, but I'm improving. You know, it's a journey. So if you want to start, just start. And if you want advice, you can just like, you know, DM me or something, and I'll usually reply. Just like, I want you to feel safe that there's a community out there looking out for you.
Yes.
Yes, that's important.
I think for me, doing drag reminds me that actually at the end of the day, as much as we are individuals in our own right,
Yeah.
we are really part of something that's so much more bigger than ourselves. Like truly, we are making history.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
so I'm very, very proud that probably 20 years from now, we can look back at the kind of legacy that we're leaving behind. And I think that is just so monumental and just so fantastic and incredible, and just really grateful to be able to do this.
to be
you
able
know.
to be part of paving the way to hopefully this world where Malaysia, where you can be yourself and it's not something to be scared of, and it's not revolutionary, and it just is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's I think an amazing thing to be part of. To
Yeah.
be, you know, when hopefully like 20 years when we look back and everybody, and there's queens everywhere, it'll be like, do you remember that time? And it was just crazy for us to talk about it.
Yeah, but seriously, you know, but thank you to all the supporters, you know, who have come to our parties,
Yes.
you know, and party with us,
We
and
wouldn't
then
be able to
scream
do
with
without them.
us, you know. Yeah, without them, honestly, we wouldn't be here today.
The audience
Yeah.
is just as important,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. It is nice to see actually that there are so many fans of drag out there. They're everywhere. Like
Yeah.
I think just people don't know. Even someone like my dad, who is so old, and he's sitting right there, but he's like from a fishing village, and I've been making him watch Drag Race every time I watch it. The other day he's like, can we watch Rupa? I was like, Rupa?
That's so
Wow.
nice. Do you want to adopt me?
So I think that if you just push people to understand, you explain to them like, why are you getting so, like, you just explain everything to them, that whatever, doesn't matter if they don't want to do it, but they can accept it and they can enjoy it too. Like, when we were watching some of the lip syncs, my dad is like, "What the heck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up and dance too because it's just so fun."
Yeah.
That's so cute. I love that.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's
Family bonding.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Queen, so much
Thank
for
you
being
for having
here.
having us.
And for everybody watching, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please follow all these beautiful queens and follow us at Yuzu Media and stay
And you will
safe.
list down our social media.
Of course, everything is in
Yeah,
the description box. And stay safe and stay woke, everyone. Bye.